Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
All right, sure. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to this keynote. My name is Kwame Yeboah. I'm a software engineer and also, how do I take this away from my screen? One moment, please. Oops. One moment. Good. Yeah, so like I said, sorry about that. My name is Kwame Yeboah. I'm a software engineer and policy planner, and I'm also the co-founder of a startup called Approve, which is a Pan-African organization that verifies and manages legal identities. And we do that using largely AI-powered technology. So today I would be going over how AI or artificial intelligence affects or the use of that affects technology and why that is important to legal innovation, as well as using um, like how AI is used and its use versus its misuse will be illustrated. Also, the whole point of this is to illustrate that yes, AI innovations are good, but the way it's used or misused would present major risks for individual privacies largely. And speaking of privacy, largely we can all attest to the fact that it's increasingly getting harder to keep our personal lives private in this day and age, largely because we are becoming increasingly social. Computers are becoming much smarter, and surveillance tools are becoming more effective. A large amount of what makes this very possible is AI-powered technology. And due to the recency and speed of how AI technologies have evolved in the past decade, it gives room for immense innovation. For instance, on the one hand, you have like you can easily do fraud detection now, or you can make cities safer. On the other hand, it presents disproportionate challenges for privacy and misuse of personal data, if you think about it. And personal data relates to all forms of data that are personal to individuals. And in many jurisdictions or many regions, you tend to find that when it comes to managing data, especially with large scale technology being deployed, such as AI, we realize that most governments or most regulators are playing catch up with the technology. So it leaves room for the private actors to abuse people's individual data because there is individual data sets, sorry, because there is no real way to regulate it in most jurisdictions, especially in the on the African continent. Now, for us as individuals, AI is affecting us, and I guess from Lisa's talk, we got a bit from that. AI is sort of like impacting us one way or the other from our home hardware devices such as Siri on your phone or Alexa, which like helps you basically is your personal assistant to friend suggestions that social media sites or online shopping suggestions or video suggestions are all AI powered technology. And these are, I guess, ways that we usually know that AI directly affects us. And sometimes it affects us in ways that we generally don't even know. When sometimes we access services that are provided by some private entities, or even like well, from our day-to-day stuff. If you pick your phone camera, right? If you use a modern smartphone and smartphone from the last 3 years, every photo you take is largely AI in the background taking decisions on what to blur out and what to keep. So AI actually affects you in the or impacts you in the pictures you do take, but these are not things that we directly notice as effects of AI in our daily lives. So before I go into how AI affects identities, I would like to break down what artificial intelligence basically means. Lisa mentioned a bit of it, but I'll try to break that down also in technical terms. So artificial intelligence largely is making computers smarter. And how do you do that? You do that by training computers on carrying out or training computers on how to learn to complete specific tasks without human supervision. So the large core component of that is training. And with any process, the more you learn, the better you become at that task. So the more the computers learn, the better they become. And that training is done through a process called machine learning, which is the major backbone of artificial intelligence. And machine learning is basically the computational process that detects patterns and makes predictions using data. So you largely realize that with machine learning or AI, what you need is not magic. What you need is actually statistics, because everything is based on data. And to make like statistical analysis that you can like basically call intelligent, or at a level where you can call intelligent, you need lots of data sets. And if you have lots of data sets, that means you need powerful computing engines to manage these data sets. And basically, AI is, like I said, statistics, and it shares the same principles with a basic application like Excel, which also does statistics, right? But the only difference is AI relies more on a larger data sets and much more powerful computing, but the underlying principles are actually the same. And so we can say that AI is based on machine learning, and machine learning is basically statistics on steroids, essentially. Um, so now, when it comes to data, right, data for feeding AI systems for them to become intelligent or smarter, in this current day and age, that is not the problem. Because in the past 2 years alone, we've produced more data than we've produced in the entire human history. Like up to 2018, the data produced up to 2018, we've produced 2 times more in just 2 years, and that is not slowing down. And daily we produce or we generate 2.5 exabytes of data globally. That's a little hard to break down, but let me try and break that down. So 2.5 exabytes of data in, let's say, a relative speak would be, you pick the population of Saudi Arabia, which is 33 million people. Now, you give each of these 33 million people a 64 gig phone. Let's assume you give them a 64 gig phone, and they fill up the memory space on this 64 gig. So that's 33 million people filling up 64 gigabytes of information on their phones. That's what gives us 2.5 exabytes of data, and that's something we do daily globally. So each day, 33 million people are filling up 64 gig phones. So if you multiply by the 365 days, that is a whole lot of data. And the what's it called? The data is made up of usually largely public information such as state data or research information, news articles, to private data, including company-related information and IP or intellectual property information, to property, personal data that involves people posting their own videos or their own files, their emails and their tweets, their Facebook posts, right? Largely, for the 2.5 exabytes of data, you have personal data making 60% of this. And personal data is largely data that can be used to identify individuals. So any data that can be used to identify an individual is identity data. And that includes everything from usernames to your phone device numbers to credit card information, social security, and all that. So now, identity data is essentially who you are, right? That's like basically what describes who you are as a person. And largely, when combined with where you are, it usually determines what kind of service you have access to, including, let's say, basic essential service like public services in the health sector. If you, for instance, need to get a health insurance, you need to one way or the other prove your identity. It gives access to banking services. You cannot travel to another country if you don't have any form of identity data, because you largely need a passport or some form of data to prove that you are allowed to travel into that country. And also it lets people exercise their civic rights and what's it called, responsibilities related to that. And the case here is AI is helping us use identity data much more effectively as compared to when records, for instance, were kept on paper, or they were just kept on a random database. Now, AI gives us the ability to be able to analyze this identity data much more faster and much more, gives us ability to like get new insights from these data sets. Now, when used properly, that gives us more opportunities, or opens up more opportunities for the users of this data. But there's also a large potential for misuse when it comes to that. So I'll first talk about the positive use cases. When AI is deployed, it makes accessing services faster. So you don't need to probably go queue up at a physical office to do something, to maybe access a service, when you can easily, for instance, just use your identity to verify what you need to verify. For instance, you need a bank account. 20 years ago, you probably have to be in a banking hall. But in many countries, like systems are being deployed such that you can open a bank account from your phone and you can actually verify your identity information from your phone. And a lot of what that requires is some AI technology on the back end to analyze that data and verify the information. Also, individuals save time. Like aside the time savings, businesses also save a lot of money when they deploy AI systems. And for instance, Netflix saves close to $1 billion because of its AI recommendation engine that it uses to recommend the movies to its users. And for the past 3 years, they save $1 billion because now they don't need customer care people to be delivering tailored um, experiences. The like basically the system basically detects what people want and gives tailored experiences to each user, and that saves them a whole lot of money. So now these are like positive use cases, and the other positive use cases include including using AI in the health sector and the education and infrastructure sector, as well as improving on law enforcement. And like the examples given, you can use AI in arbitration and stuff like that. There are the negative or misuse cases of AI and what it presents. Like I said earlier, the the technology has made surveillance tools much more effective. So it means now governments can easily spy on individuals and much more easily. They can track where you're going to, what you're doing at any given point in time because they have access to your data. Or if they do have access to your data, let me put it that way. And aside that, AI can lead to a lot of propagation of fake news. And this is largely due to a concern with deepfakes, because basically somebody can pull up Obama's face and use AI to recreate a video to make it look real. But like these are things that are some of the dangers of AI. And when it comes to identity information, aside identity theft that is a risk of deepfakes, you also have an issue with privacy violations, because the private entities that manage individuals' data, they tend to not have too many regulations guiding them, so they can easily sell information to third parties. And when they do, they most likely do not even get consent of the user who they are selling their data. So that means that AI is increasing a lot of it's increasing privacy violations on a general scale. I'll try to use an example in my context currently to illustrate a positive use case of AI and a misuse of like the AI-powered technology when it relates to identity data. So in Ghana, if today, like basically, if you want to vote or vote in elections, you need an identity, a voter ID card. Over recent times, a new voter ID card has been issued, which largely is based on biometric systems, and those biometric systems on the back end actually have deployed a lot of AI technologies. And voting in Ghana is actually today. I ended an hour ago, and basically what the general idea of this is to like reduce the number of hours people spend in queue. So largely to vote, people used to spend maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. Now people go there, and today they're actually pretty shocked that they could spend only 2 minutes or 5 minutes out there when they were used to, spending 4 hours to vote to choose their leaders. So that's a positive use case of AI in this instance, because the verification machines that they use at the polling stations is AI dependent. Now, also in this particular instance as well, we have issues of privacy violations that came up 2 weeks ago when the Electoral Commission of Ghana, for some reason, decided to publish their entire identity information of all registered voters on Google Drive, and this was accessible to the public. So that's private information of 17 million people, including their names, their ID, what they call their addresses, their family histories, fingerprints, biometric information, published everything on Google Drive, and it was accessible to the public for 2 days. Now, in their defense, they have actually not broken any laws in Ghana, because the laws allow them to do whatever they want to do with people's private data. The key word in the legislation states that the Electoral Commission is allowed to use people's data, publish people's data however it deems fit in order to promote a transparent electoral process. But the way they published it, like by publishing the entire detail of each individual, was not exactly what you call ethical. So after a public backlash for almost 3 days, they actually took the information down. So basically, they have systems to be able to enable people get faster, but also didn't manage people's identity data pretty well, which is basically um, something that's a danger that we all experience when it comes to other people managing our data. When the data is with you, is yours. But when the data goes to an entity, you can't guarantee what they will do with the data. Maybe in the jurisdiction you are, you can guarantee what will happen. You can take them to court. But most of this is not, especially in emerging markets, most of the data laws are not exactly at a point where they are robust enough to handle these cases. So this might be a simple case of privacy violation when it comes to voter information, but there might be other cases, including people's personal files getting into the wrong hands online, people's credit card information being extracted, because AI can be used to launch brute force attacks on systems to extract people's identity information, especially the security systems of the database is not top notch. And this presents a lot of risks for people's personal lives and also their finances as well. And this is not something that generally anyone would like. So, like I said earlier, the illustrative point was AI systems or AI innovations are good, right? But they prevent major privacy risks to us, like to individuals and actors involved. So, what are the little things we can do to like minimize the misuse and increase the positive usage of AI? And I'm going to speak to that from a case of three actors. First, with governments, they can limit misuse by putting in place better data regulations to, because largely AI is the technology, but what you can actually protect is the data. So better regulation to protect people's data, but also when putting in this regulation, they should pay attention to, or government should pay attention to the idea that, or the fact that you wouldn't want to stifle innovation, because over-regulation would stifle innovation, as we all do know. And on the use case part, governments can increase investments in research, because there's always been that clear linkage between how much research investment is put in AI and the results that's gotten on like the economy-wide basis. And the more governments increase research in AI, the more they can expand the benefits that come along with the AI-based technologies. Also, the private sector can limit misuse by like in the case where when they are faced with a situation where you don't have any regulation guiding what you have to do, they basically have to abide by ethical principles um, to like manage people's data, especially private identity information, and also to increase the use of AI, especially in relation to managing data. Private sector can deploy AI or should deploy AI strategically. Not deploy AI because it's a cool concept everybody is talking about, but deploy AI because there's a specific problem that you feel AI can solve for your institution. Then you deploy AI to improve that, because there's usually a lot of cases where you see a lot of deployment of AI, but it's actually deployed not because there's a specific problem, but because management feels that, oh, we don't want to lose out on this new trend, and they jump in, but it actually solves no, like, it doesn't really solve a real problem. And finally, individuals can share less information online. The less you share, the less you are at risk of, getting your identity information published out there. And they can also manage privacy by like on different systems. For instance, Google and Facebook allow you to, manage your privacy in such a way that you control what happens to your data specifically. And many firms also do allow that, but usually they don't put those settings in conspicuous places where you can see them. So it's harder to find, but usually they are in their privacy settings one way or the other. Then they'll allow you to manage what can be done with your personal data. So there's like little ways we can help like limit the misuse of AI technology, especially when it comes to people's personal data. Also, there is the thing where, in order to ensure that AI systems are much more useful, we need more legal innovations around AI systems. We need to build better data compliance systems, and also we need, like I said, with governments to put in place better regulation. And to do this very effectively, we need a system that involves everyone, irrespective, not just the techies to write the code or the tech companies to determine what happens to AI, but an all-inclusive AI system that will help enhance our lives personally. And the more we engage individually or like as entities in shaping the future of AI development, the more the chance we have at ensuring better use, limiting misuse, and creating a fairer future with artificial intelligence. Thank you. I will stop for questions here. And yeah, so I'll stop to take questions. Thank you very much.